Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Faith. Today I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how I made this beautiful blouse. Our focus is going to be mainly on the front bodice and the neckline. If you're interested, then let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so to work on this blouse, we'll need our basic block. To start with, because there isn't much alteration for the back pattern, I'll just cut it off and keep it aside, and then we'll work on the front block for now. Now my front block is on fold. Okay, that means my paper is folded into two, and what I want to do now is to trace it to the other side with the help of my tracing wheel. Okay, please make sure you trace out every line that you have there, both the shoulder line, the neckline, the armhole line, your chest line, your bust line, your dart, and don't forget your bust dart also. Okay, so when you're done, the next thing will be to open it up like so, and then with your marker and your rulers, you're going to trace out everything. For mine, you might not be able to see it, but I have some dotted lines there which I'm marking on in order to bring out what I have there. Okay, so now we're done tracing it, and you can see that our front block is now in full. Now the first thing we're going to do is to close our bust dart, and to do that we're going to open the waist dart and then we'll close it up like this. You repeat the same process for the other side. Now that we've closed up the dart, the next thing will be to blend up the sides there, and so that they can match up. Next will be for me to create a little dart to the neckline, so I can just tighten the neckline a little. And to do that, I'll just be marking 0.25 on each of the line, 0.25 dart. So I open the dart up by 0.125 on both sides of the line there. Next, I'll just close them up, and please close it up to the center front. Make sure that your dart that you are closing up is facing the center front, just like I did on both sides. Now next is to align the neckline. If you notice some points no longer matching, so I'll match them up, and then the next thing will be to cut out all this excess paper I have by the sides. They are no longer needed, so I'll just trace them out, or cut them out rather. Okay, now that we are through with that, the next thing will be for me to open up the neckline a little, and I opened up the neckline by 0.5 on each side, both on the neck width and on the neck depth. The initial neckline was 3 by 3, which is my actual neck measurement, but I decided to open it up a little. Now, after we're through with this, the next thing is to go to the style of the day, which is the design on the front of the blouse. Now, to achieve this is personal choice. You can bring it to your chest line, but for this, I want it to be at the bust area. So from my under bust line, I went up by 1.5, and then from the center line there, I marked 1 inch straight from the waistline to the bust line. Just like I said, you can make yours higher. The line where I went up by 1.5 on the under bust, you can do that from your bust line if you want yours to be on the chest line. So at this point, from the bust line there, from the midpoint there, I'm going to mark 1 inch out. Can you see? And then the 1.5 I went off from the under bust line, I transferred it to the other line which I have there 1 inch. The next thing will be to connect this point and then create a curve there. Can you see? And then I will take this line with free hand. On the shoulder line, I went out by 1.25 there. And then the next thing will be to connect it like so. Now you want to be creative about it and try to give it its style, just like so. Now when you have this, then that means you're done with the the style. So the next thing will be for us to cut it out. Okay, now this is all we need for the blouse. So we'll be cutting two pieces of this for the front. Okay, and then we're going to be sewing back the dart. Can you see? Now we're going to set this aside and come with the back pattern. Now the back doesn't have much alteration. All we have to do is to open up the neckline just like we did for the front. So I went out from the initial neckline by 1/2 inch, and that's all. So I'll just cut out the excess papers I have around it, and we are done with the back block. Now this block, if cut and sewn like this, will be more of like a crop top. But for me, I want to add some length to it to make it a little longer. That's like, I want to show you how to make this just like a blouse if you don't want it to be like a crop top. So what I'm doing now is that I close the bust dart, and then I'm marking 1 inch from the waistline upward. Now I'm going to cut this out, and then I will add a few more inches to the length to make it longer, and at least to get to like my belly button side, so that it will be easy to pair it with a trouser or a skirt. Okay, so this is it. Next thing will be to transfer this to my fabric. Okay, Okay guys, so this is it. I've placed the pattern on my fabric and you can see that is on fold. Now I've added all the seam allowance, and for the cutout on the waistline I added 3 inches to the length, and I also did the same thing for the back pattern because I added 3 inches to the cutout in the front. I also added 3 inches to the length of the back so that they can match up when I'm sewing it. Okay, so now I'm cutting out. Remember, I added all the necessary seam allowance. On the center back, I added 1 inch for zipper. On the side seam, I used 1.5 and then the rest on 0.5. Okay, now this is the cutout for the front piece, and on the center front I added 0.5 inches, side 1.5, and at the hem I added 3 inches, don't forget. Same for this, on the side I added 1.5, then half an inch all round. If you notice, you can see that I left the dart open, and then you're going to notch each end of the dart legs there. Can you see? Okay, and on the center front line there, the style where we have our style, I added 0.5 inch allowance both to the armhole, the shoulder line, and the neckline. Now you want to notch that place where you have your chest line and also your bust point line. Okay, so at this point we're done cutting, and the next thing is to start with the front, and you can see how my pattern looks. Now I also went ahead to cut the basic sleeve, and I also cut lining for every of the block. Can you see? I have all my lining cut out. Okay, and I also notched the side seam and the upper part where I'll be joining to the waist of the front block. Now the next thing will be for us to start joining, and you want to take note of where you have your notches for the dart because you're going to be sewing down the dart. What you have to do is to place the two notches together, and then to determine the length, or should I say the height of your dart, you want to bring back your block and then measure it. Okay, and then you're going to measure it like this. At this point you have to remember you added 0.5 inch on the waistline for joining, so you also have to take note of that and mark that, and then remember also the same thing for your back. Okay, alright, so guys, this is it. I've sewn out all the darts, and this is how they are. Can you see? Now this is what we are working towards achieving. Now the next thing will be for us to join the extra piece we have for the waistline, and we're going to be doing that on half an inch both for the main fabric and the lining. Okay guys, so this is it. Can you see? Now to move forward, what we're going to do now is to knitting the front where we have the opening, and to do that just place your lining on the main fabric, right side facing right side, and sew right from the shoulder. Make sure where you have your notches they align, and then you're going to sew on half an inch all the way down from the shoulder straight down. So I'll do that now and come back. Alright guys, So this is it. I've sewn it down. Now you want to go ahead and notch that side all the way up and to the hem also. Alright, you can also trim out so that you don't have much fabric inside inside there, so that it can lap well when you press it out. Okay, so this is it, and this is how it should look like. Now I'll go ahead and turn the other one, press it out, and I'll be back to show you what I have. Okay guys, so this is it. Can you see? Now the next thing, to the most important part of this tutorial, is the front neckline. Now I'm going to show you how to knitting out this neckline. Okay, some persons will tell you to turn it with bias, but this can be knitted out without bias. Now you know that we have 4 pieces for the front neckline. At this point I noticed I needed to do some trimming, which is what I'm doing. Now because of the nature of the design, we have 4 pieces for the front. So now after placing them on each other like this, take the first one and keep it aside. Now you're going to pick the 2 in the middle, okay, which is the lining for the first piece on top and the main fabric for the second one under. So you're going to sew those 2 and leave the remaining 2. Can you see? That is the first one on top and the last one under. Okay, so this is it. I've sewn it on 1/2 inch, and I'll go ahead and notch it and trim out the excess. Now next thing will be for us to join the last 2, which is now the first one on top, which is the main fabric, and then the lining for the one under. Can you see? So now you just pick those 2, bend them into inward like so. Can you see? So that you don't make mistake while turning, bend them inward like so, and then with your pin you pin it down like so. Now repeat the same thing for the other shoulder. Okay, remember that the first 2 you sew is inside these 2 now, so you turn it inward like that, and then you pin also to make it easy for you when you want to turn it, because this neckline can be somehow tricky. So can you see? You have those 2, and then you sew on 1/2 inch also. Alright guys, so this is it. I'll also go ahead and notch this neckline too. Now I'll trim out. And then I'll turn it back. Okay, so can you see what we have? Can you see the neckline now? You can see that everything is knitted out and it's looking like It's just one main fabric and lining. I'll iron this now and show you. Alright, can you see? Can you see how it looks? Okay. Alright, the next thing will be to just work on the back neckline. And there is no drama for the back neckline, just your normal way of sewing your back neckline. Okay, so now that I'm done with the back neckline, the next thing will be to join the shoulders. Now your front shoulder will come as one piece, and then you insert it into the middle of the back neckline, and you just knitting it out. So this is it. Can you see? Now, because the major focus of this tutorial was on the neckline and the front bodies, the next thing will be for me to just close the side seam and fix the sleeve, the zipper, and then I'll place the blouse on my mannequin for you to see how it turned out. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial. Thank you. Alright guys, can you see our blouse? I went ahead to finish up the details with buttons. Can you see? So thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.